Hi. Okay, so I just went to the dentist, so I look a little weird. Just have to say that, you know, I'm a little off here. Anyway, hello from Offland. Anyway, this video needs to be graded and I'm numb, but I have to get this done, so bear with me, please. Anyway, so in this video, I want to talk about linked tables and the back and creating a backend file. So first, I want to give you an introduction to it, of course, and then I'll talk about linking tables, and then I'll talk about the backend file for databases. And one of the things that I wanted to let you know is this time I think I'm going to use the topics just laid out in the book. And so that you can go back to the book and look in your book if you think it's helpful. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to send me off to the side. Oh, wait, no, first, before I do that, I'm going to do the intro before I do the link table. So, it looks so funny because I can see myself in the video. But anyway, so the thing that I wanted to say about databases and your final project, and this is information that you need to do your final project, is that let's say you created a database for um, several users. You took the time, you developed it, you worked on it hard, and you released your first version. Okay, so while you released your first version, um, after you release your first version, the user or users is going to use the database and they're going to put in data into the database, and they're going to search for stuff on the database, different things that you offer within your particular project. But let's say that you wanted to be able to create updates for that table or that database. Okay, so while you make a second copy of that database that you originally created, version 1, so you made a copy of it, and so now you're working on version 2. Okay, and so the user continues to use your version 1 and you continue to develop version 2. Then you get to the time where version 2 is done. Okay, so you're done with version 2 and you want to release it and let your users use it. If you take that particular database, your version 2, and wipe out version 1 with all, what's going to happen? The user is going to lose all of their data. They may have new features to input data, but it's a problem because here you have all this data that's been typed in. What do you do? So usually in Access, what happens for developers is that they have a file where they hold only tables, and that's a database file, Microsoft Access database file. And then also you have another file, another Microsoft Access database file that you have all of your other objects in them. So you would have queries and forms and reports and any macros or modules in that particular file. So your tables would be totally separate. And what you would do was you would link your tables to your other other, I don't know, other objects file, I guess you could say. But anyway, so now if you do that, then when you release version 2, you're not wiping out the tables data, you're just wiping out the old versions of all the other objects. Okay, so you don't lose data when you go to do an update, and it's very nice. Now sometimes you have to update the tables as well, but usually that's not done as often. It's much more likely that you're going to update some other object, like a form or query, or and not just one update, of course. You do multiple updates, but my point is that it's much better to have 2 files for any project and for your final project. And so I'm going to show you today how to make it so that you can have linked tables to another database file. Now you have been working on this this final project, and one of the points in the rubric says that you must have all of your tables linked, and I just put NA on that point, and I didn't, give any feedback on that because for all of you who handed yours in, I didn't do that part because you hadn't learned it yet, and it wasn't necessary to have a separate database yet because you were only working on your table, so it didn't really make sense. When you do your forms, then it's going to make sense to have a separate database file for your tables as compared to your forms. And so I'm going to be expecting you to hand both of them in. Yeah, so anyway, so moving on, I'm going to go to the book and right now, and I'm going to go over kind of do an overview. Oh, here comes my dog. Anyway, so I'm going to do an overview of what's, of the concepts of how linking tables and then how to do it. Oh no. Okay, I guess, oh, there, okay. The video stagnated for a minute, so I wasn't sure what was going on. But okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send me off to the side. Okay, and so here's where it says a linked table is a table that is stored in a separate database file than the open database and can be updated from the open database. Okay, you can retrieve and update, add, change, delete records in the linked table, but you can't change its structure, which is true, and that's one thing that's really nice is it protects the protects it. Okay, so let me go and take a break here for a second. Okay, so I'm back, and you can see over here, maybe I'll just bring myself a bit back in the middle, doesn't matter. Okay, you can see over here on the left, there are these tables, and they have little arrows next to them, okay? And that means that the tables are linked. And so that means that they're not actually in this particular database, they're in another file. And so if we wanted to see that file, I'll go ahead and pull that up. Okay, and so you can see like TBL contacts, but if I go back over here, it's not going to let me. I have to send myself off to the right. Okay, now if I go back over here, I can see that it's got the arrow TBL contacts, and actually you can see there that when I point to it, it gives you the information about where the database file is that it's linked to. Okay. So anyway, that's about linking. Now, how do you do that? Well, let's see if the book talks about it. Okay, so the book, just right under the description of linked table here, it has a reference and it says how to link the tables. So if I wanted to link one or more tables, what I do is I click on External tab, okay, and then it says in the Import and Link group, click on Access button to get the external, and I'll move me down a little bit. Okay, so then here it says click on Link to the data source by linking a linked table. Okay, then it says click the Browse button and go and find the database that you want to have tables linked to this particular database. So I'll click on there and then I'll click on Open. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the OK button. Okay, and then from there I'll click on all the tables that I want. You can click one or more, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to click on this one, TBL volunteers, and I'll say OK. And then here, TBL volunteers appears. So one thing that I want to make sure you know is that if you were to click on one of these and just press delete, it wouldn't delete the table itself. It would just delete the link to that particular database or your database. So where that data is stored or in the original file still stays there. It just is not linked then to this particular file, database file that you did have it linked to. Okay, so let's see. Next, I want to talk about backend files. Okay, so next I want to talk about the database splitter, which creates the backend files that we've been talking about. Okay, so what we had before was we had what is known as a backend file that was already created, that I already had, and I just linked those tables over to the front end file. That's another way of putting it. So now what I want to do is I want to talk about what if the situation is that you have all your tables and all your forms and everything all together and you want to separate those tables out. Well, Access has a way of splitting the database so that you have a file that is for tables separated from the forms and reports and everything else. So the thing that I want you to understand is that probably most of you will use this particular approach because you didn't know about linking tables in the beginning, and so you probably put all of your stuff together. You probably put everything together and didn't know that you needed to separate them out. So I'm going to go over about the database splitter so that you can use that to be able to have separate files. Okay, so send me off to the right here, or let's see, maybe I can drag me up a little. Okay. Anyway, the database splitter is an access tool that splits an Access database into two files. One file contains the tables and the other file contains queries, forms, reports, and other database objects, like it says. And then I'll skip down. The database that contains the tables is called the backend database. And the database that contains the other objects, including the user interface, is called the front-end database. Cool. Okay. And so after you split a database, when users open a front-end database, the database they open can use data in the tables in the backend database. They can put it in there and then they can retrieve it, and change it and edit it, all that data, but they cannot change the actual structure of the tables. Okay. So anyway, people who develop databases and sell them to multiple companies usually split their databases, which is one of the reasons why I'm having you do that in your final project. It's a pretty important thing to be able to do. Okay. Let's see. So what else? So here is a kind of a demonstration about the database splitter and how you've got this veterinary database here, and the backend or the database splitter will split it into two. Yep. Okay. So, and we've kind of gone over why we want that. Okay. And so here is the information about how to do a database splitter. Now, you'll notice that, well, one thing is you can just search. If you're doing the electronic book, you can just search for a database splitter to get this information. But also, you can, let's see, search by the page number now. And the page number is in your rubric of your tables. I don't have it with me right now, but anyway, you can look up the rubric for your tables and it will tell you about the requirement to have your database split between two files, a front end and a back end. And it will also, let's see, and it will give you the page number of how to get that information. Okay. So anyway, here it says make a backup copy. Always when you're doing these kinds of operations, you want to make a backup copy just in case something goes wrong. It says start access and open the database you want to split. Click the database tool tab and then move in the move data group, click access database button to start. Anyway, you can read through it. Okay. And so then here it talks about how to do that. My dog. Anyway, all right, I gotta calm her down first. Okay, so we're gonna move forward like I've already made a backup copy. Then then it says click the database tools tab. So I'm gonna click on database tools. And then I'm gonna click on in the move data group, click on access database. So let's see, where is that? And then access database, okay. All right, and I'll move me down so you can see me. Oops, let's see. All right, there we go. I'll move this down too. All right, so anyway, this looks a lot like this, okay? And so then it says, then from there, it says click split the database. So I'll go ahead and split the database, okay? And so now it's asking me where I want to put my database, and I'll just say that's good. That's no big, whatever. Actually, let's put it in downloads. Okay. And so then I'll click on split. And then it says database successfully split. And now you see that all of these tables are linked. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And you've got it done. So anyway, but it is important for you to be able to know how to do this let's see, it is important for you to know how to do this for your final projects. So if you do have any trouble, certainly let me know. And as with anything, email me. I'm glad to help. But anyway, I'm hoping that you have a great spring break. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.